Hey guys, how's it going? So I spent $500 on this keyboard and I really wish that I didn't because now I don't want to send it back. In this video, I'm going to talk about why I really love the ROG Azoth Extreme, how it compares to some of my other favorite keyboards out there, and why I'm going to be sticking with this keyboard as my main and actually my only keyboard, at least for the time being. The first reason is the build. And if you've used any other keyboard, like from Razer, from SteelSeries, from Corsair, etc., you may have thought that you got good build quality, but you really didn't. The entire package is made out of aluminum. With a lot of other mainstream gaming keyboards, only the top plate would be made out of aluminum, but everything else is plastic. Not this. The entire frame is made out of a really high quality aluminum. So like even from the front here, and I love like these chamfered corners, gives it a nice little touch. And of course it's an ROG product, so you're gonna see branding throughout. And I like what they did here with the sides where there's just more metal popping out, and it has a different pattern compared to the rest of the keyboard. So it gets away from just being like a typical smooth slab of aluminum. There's just some extra care and detail that went into it. So like I like the pattern here at the top, and this looks like it might be textured or ridged, etc., but it's actually smooth to the touch. But the pattern is really pretty, and you're getting that same pattern at the back. And yeah, it's just a really nice looking keyboard. One thing immediately to point out is usually with a lot of other cheaper feeling keyboards, the feet at the back is usually like a flappy piece of plastic. This actually has magnetized feet that come in the package too, so it just pops right on there, uses magnets, works great. But the keyboard height is sloped in a way that's very comfortable for me to type on without needing those feet, but I'll come back to the typing experience a little bit later on. But yeah, overall, definitely among the best built keyboard I've ever used. I mean, at $500, it better be. So honestly, initially what I wanted to do was just buy this keyboard, do a video on it, and then probably return it, then complain about how expensive it is and how expensive things are getting. But when I unboxed it, I didn't have any audio planned for me speaking over as I was unboxing it. But then, like, look, this was just my natural reaction. Wow. The moment I started typing on this, that's when I realized, oh crap, I just lost $500 and I'm not getting it back. So yeah, with that being said, let's just get into the typing experience. And again, wow, this is the most impressive typing experience I've ever had. My favorite thing about it is when it bottoms out, it has just like a really nice satisfying sound, and it feels really nice too. There's a good sense of feedback whenever you bottom out, and it's really nicely dampened too, to where you're not, it's quiet and you're just getting that nice foggy sound that keyboard enthusiasts like to talk about. So I'm not really a keyboard review expert, so I might not have some of the terminology down. I might not be able to articulate what I like about this keyboard, but yeah, it's been great. The amount of travel has been perfect. Not as high as some of the other gaming keyboards I've used or keyboards I've used in general, but it's just right. And for a gaming keyboard, you don't want the travel to be too deep. This strikes a nice balance between very comfortable to type on with my day job and also when I'm gaming too. And also the stabilizers are the best I've used on any keyboard too. So, I mean, so even the space bar, there's not much wobble to it. When I compare some of the other keyboards, you'll see what I'm talking about. And even all the letters, etc. Yeah, there's really good stabilization on the keys to where you're not getting any wobble. Every key is pre-lubed, and it feels really, really smooth. There's no scratchiness to it compared to a lot of the other keyboards that I've used as well too. And it's just a joy to type on. The spacing of the keys, everything's perfectly ergonomic. I've really never used a keyboard that's this comfortable to type on. And it's one of those things, you just gotta try it yourself to really get a sense of what I'm talking about. So one thing I'm not really talking about that you may have noticed is some of the design elements. So first of all, the RGB is good, but it's not the brightest. Usually with double shot PBT keyboards, the light shine through in terms of the RGB isn't as bright, and this one is no exception. I find it to be bright enough, but then at the other end of it, you are getting this OLED screen, and it's definitely gimmicky, but it is kind of cool. So you can set it up in the Armory Crate software to show like your CPU and your GPU temps, and you can scroll up and down. It is touchscreen as well to cycle through different presets, and you can add your own. You can add your own video, etc. I haven't felt the need to mess around with that. And there's these buttons here too. So there's a button to cycle between different settings, and I've changed it to only cycle between volume adjustment and multimedia. There's a lot of different stuff you could do in the Synapse software, and there is a cool thing where it could actually show your key presses per second too. I don't like using that because I'm not the fastest typist out there. I'm just barely adequate. And you could double tap it and you could see some more details about the keyboard itself too. And there's a lot of different macros that you can do too. So when you turn the keys to the side, there's a macro button, there's a lock button. On the top by the escape, there's a reset button to reset it to factory default. So the cool thing is, if you spend time learning how to use this keyboard, you'll never have to touch Armory Core. And the third reason why I'm sticking with this, and yeah, this is not the best keyboard for gaming, but it's the best all-rounder out there. So now I can start talking about some of the other keyboards that I have and that I actually do like. So first I want to start off by talking about the Wooting keyboard. This one is the Wooting 2HE, and this has the rapid trigger that's all the rave right now. But I will say though, I've never used a rapid trigger keyboard that I actually really enjoyed using, and I've used all of them. And the thing is, yeah, that there's no denying that rapid trigger is the best for gaming, but when you're not playing competitive shooters, I don't enjoy gaming on them. When I'm playing more single player based games, I don't enjoy the way any of the rapid trigger keyboards feel. They all feel kind of cheap, sound a bit rattly, though the Wooting does sound the best out of all of them, and they're just a bit stiff and it's not fun to type on. And my keyboard I use for my 9-to-5 job too, which I work from home, and it also is my gaming keyboard and my video editing keyboard. So I want something that serves every single purpose. And as much as I love the rapid trigger, I just don't feel like it's good for anything else other than competitive first-person shooters. One thing though, if you're not aware of what rapid trigger is, it might be for you, because you can have a key press register at any point while actuating from all the way to the top to the bottom, and you can set it up anywhere which in between, and it's also able to register how much you press down and how much you're pressing up too. So as it's indicating here from some of the RGB, so because of that, it gives us some really cool RGB elements that you don't really get anywhere else. So right now, as I barely press down, you can see that it gets brighter, and then as I depress, it starts to get dimmer again. So it creates some cool effects, and I think it's the best one out there. So this is a good example of what I'm talking about here. So when I barely press W, it's actually able to register it like an analog. So as I press down more to the bottom, it will register all the way. But so like one thing I've noticed about all of these rapid style trigger keyboards is the key presses isn't always incredibly smooth. There's like a little bit of not only scratchiness too, but the actuation force isn't like completely smooth. I don't know if I'm losing you guys here. Let me know in the comments. Maybe you have to relube it yourself, and that is not something I'm willing to do. I want a turnkey product. I want to buy something and then just use it. But overall, I'm probably spending too much time talking about the Wooting. They do have a new 60 that's coming out soon, and apparently they have improved the typing experience on it. I can't wait to get that in and try it out myself. So in terms of build quality, when I was alluding to, I still think that the LeMoKey L3 is the best built keyboard that I've used. So LeMoKey is a sub-brand of Keychron. LeMoKey is their gaming focused keyboards, and if you've used the OnePlus keyboard, that's also made by Keychron, so that's why you might be seeing some resemblances in terms of the overall design. So I think the quality of the aluminum is better on the LeMoKey, but I prefer the styling on the ROG Azoth Extreme. But I do like the Darth Vader vibes that this gives off, and this is an excellent keyboard too. is just that the typing experience just isn't as good. When I initially got this LeMo keyboard, I thought this was the pinnacle of how good a keyboard could feel when you're typing on it, until I got this Azoth Extreme. This is a much better keyboard to type on than the LeMo key. I would have never expected that, but I'm not knocking this. This is still a great keyboard to type on, but I think I forgot how much I paid for this. I think it was like $250 versus $500. So you should expect some improvements on a $500 keyboard versus an under $300 keyboard. But this is an excellent keyboard. I like these macro buttons at the side that you can set up. It is a big keyboard, and I do really like this. But overall, I found that gaming on this was a little bit slower. I did look it up. The input latency is fine. It's good on this keyboard, but I think because the key press doesn't actually get registered until you press the key almost all the way down, that creates enough lag to where I don't enjoy using this when I'm playing competitive shooters. With the Asus, we're going to come back to that really quickly. So with the Asus ROG Azoth Extreme, the key press gets registered maybe when you press it a quarter way down, maybe even a little bit less. So that actually vastly improves the reaction time when gaming on this. So as much as I like this keyboard, I've realized that it's not really made for fast-paced gaming. So that's why I enjoy typing with this keyboard, but I don't enjoy gaming with it. So I think at some point I'm going to be getting rid of this, and I'll be keeping the ROG exclusively. The last keyboard I want to talk about, and I've used a lot, but I don't want to make this video too long, so I'm only narrowing it down to 3 keyboards, and this is still overall one of my favorite keyboards. This is the Razer Black Widow V4 Pro. So this isn't a rapid trigger keyboard. They do make a Huntsman, and I did buy that, and I did not enjoy typing on that keyboard at all. I mean, like I said, it was great to play Overwatch with, but that's not all I use my keyboards for. So, but one thing I really like about this is how quiet it is. This is using Razer's yellow switches, and this is the only switch that Razer makes that I feel is good enough for not only for just gaming, but then also for everything else. So this is what I use to do all my video editing because of this dial here. So there's a volume dial to the right, and there's a specific dial here. When you press it, you can program it to do different things. So I have this program in my 9-to-5 job to scroll across different tabs on my Excel workbooks, and then when I'm video editing, I use it to scrub across my timeline. So I enjoy having these here, and you have the macro buttons. It's a great keyboard to use, but quality-wise, build-wise, typing experience-wise, it just can't touch something like the LeMo key or now the Razer Azoth. So that's one thing I really miss with this keyboard. As you can see, it's the smallest out of all of them too. So you're not getting all the bells and whistles, and yeah, you can make your own macros here, but I like having dedicated keys for that. But because the typing experience is so good to where I enjoy using this for all 3 of my lives, whether it's video editing, my 9-to-5 job, and gaming, this one does everything for me. So until I find a better keyboard out there, unfortunately, I have $500 less to my name than I did before this keyboard, but I absolutely really do like it. If you got it, let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what you think about any of these other keyboards. I'll try to leave links down below if you want to buy them. Also, I get a lot of questions about this yellow cable that I use. That'll all be linked down below. So, all right, if you guys like this video, like it. If you want to see more, get subscribed. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you guys. Bye.